Hey everybody, this is Donte-highwater, and I got my mic boom today, and I have to do it very very slowly, very very carefully too. Yeah, I got my filters and everything. Everything's all fancy. Um, I'm slowly getting there. My desk, and here's the funny part about the whole thing, is that the desk I have, it doesn't come all the way out, so I couldn't clamp the microphone, to it. Um, so I couldn't clamp the microphone to it and everything. So there we go. So I had to. I have a small, tiny refrigerator right next to me where I put my sodas and my drinks and all that good stuff right here. So I found a small table that wasn't too high up, but it was kind of, mid height and everything, maybe a little over a foot, and it clamped right on it. And so I had to use books to counterweight the microphone and the boom and everything. It did really well without it. It really did. It was actually kind of fun. But yeah, I have huge books, so I put the books on top of it's a small little triangular, table and everything. Um, Maybe if I do some rearranging and get a writing table that I can actually clamp it on directly. For right now, it's really cool. I like it. I can't, That's a place to put my headphones on and everything. Yeah, I actually plugged in my headphones to my microphone to the Yeti, and I was really impressed how well it really sounds. I can't get over how these filters make you sound a whole lot better. I'm not, I mean, it's not going to make me. There's no hope. There is no hope for me. So this is as good as I'm going to sound, unfortunately, until I get used to talking in a microphone, and until I get used to being recorded and all that good stuff. I'm trying to act like how I normally would when I'm with my friends at work and everything, and I'm usually a lot more loose in person. I'm a lot more. I'm funny. I'm sarcastic. I make jokes. Sometimes that's at someone's expense, but never ever cruel or mean spirited. They know it's in fun. They know it's in jest, and I would never ever pick on somebody that I knew couldn't take it, because I just wouldn't do that to anybody. So, it's kind of funny because I've always kind of wanted to do something like this, but it's what would I do if I had the equipment to do it with, and what kind of creativity would I do? And that, I think that's the fun part. And sometimes you have the tools to do something creative, but the problem is that it's such a broad thing. I could do movie reactions, I could do video reactions, which I don't mind doing the video. I love music. I'm a huge music buff. I got all these guitars, and I got a bass guitar and everything. Love video games. I love to play. I haven't played a video game in such a long time because I've been so busy in writing this book that I got myself into, and I just absolutely love the whole writing process. I think it's fun, but yeah, I mean, It's slowly and surely this little tiny room in my house is becoming kind of almost like a recording studio. All I need is a light on the other side saying record, and I'll be set. I'll be set for life. But I don't think I'm going to do chapter 2 today, but I think I'm just going to take a break. I think I'm just going to take a break. I am tired. I'm exhausted. Work. But I'll probably do it over the weekend, because Friday's coming up. I have Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays off right now. That's my summer schedule at work. And I'm going to work 4 days, and I'm off for 3, and that's awesome. And so I'm having a blast. I'm having I'm just having a lot of fun with all this. So yeah, I'll talk a little bit about the process of the Conduit. Okay, story. It all really came to me when I was sitting on my couch watching TV, really, and I was kind of thinking in my mind, what is it? What does I really want to write about? My first story I was working on was called The Iron Badger, and I thought it would be kind of cool, but I really didn't know where I was going with it, and that was the problem. The Conduit was basically the same thing, but there was more to it, okay? So I said before, it took a lot of evolutional stages with the Conduit. And the very first, when I first wrote it, I thought it would be kind of cool to have like a 40-some-year-old guy working at a newspaper. He worked at big newspaper companies before. He just didn't like the stress, and the creativity wasn't there. He wanted a place where he could actually cut loose, so to speak, and actually do his thing. And so he made a letter. He wrote a letter. This is before the internet, and this is before all this that we have now. So he writes a letter to this really small newspaper company, and he sends it to the editor, and he sends a couple of his short stories. And his idea was, I could write these stories for you in the newspaper and blah, 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 He gets a letter directly from the editor-in-chief of the newspaper, and he was like, wow, these were fantastic stories, I can't pay you as much as what you're getting paid. I think it was Chicago. I think I had it set in, he was in Chicago, but he had a flight to Pennsylvania. Juliana. I think it was in Juliana County, So anyway, now that time has, the newspaper is going under, because now everyone has internet access. Okay, so everyone has internet access. Everybody is getting newspaper. They're not buying newspapers. All right. So the editor-in-chief was William Dumas. That's what I wrote, and what he was asking. I'm trying to remember his name. Oh, it was Harold. That's right, it was Harold. And he asked Harold, he says, "Would you have a drink with me?" So he has these little shot glasses in his desk, and he sets them up, and he pours, I think it was whiskey. And he goes, "Sure," And he says, "How much longer do I have?" He already sees the writing on the wall. He already sees it. and he says, "Why don't you take the rest of the day off? But you're not fired, okay? I want you to write one last story, and that would be your goodbye. That would be goodbye to me personally, and that would be goodbye to the newspaper and goodbye to your friends because you got a good following." And he goes, "Yeah, okay, you know." I won't tell you it draws on, but the idea was that well, not the idea, but the more of the problem, okay, was that how was he able to see this person that died? And it was a young girl. She was also a writer for another newspaper. I think it was in New York, and New York or Philadelphia. I think it was in Philadelphia. That's right, it was in Philadelphia. The problem was I had too many people in too many different locations, which was fine, because Harold moved to Pennsylvania, and it's okay to have someone in in Philadelphia. It's still the same area, okay? But what was happening was in New York, okay? So I had to really kind of find a way to bridge everything and find the most feasible, and it just got more and more ridiculous and stupid as it kept going. So I had to scrap it. I really, honest to God, had to scrap the whole thing, because it just got more and more retarded, just stupid as it was, as I was writing it. I wasn't even believing what I was writing. So I took different, I cut Harold out, and I cut him out, and I cut the small time newspaper, and I concentrated on the girl. Okay, that in the original she died. Okay, she had died originally, and Harold was able to see her spirit. Okay, she was haunting him. Actually, the title to the Conduit was originally called Alien Hands. It's an actual real medical phenomenon, I guess you want to call it, that the French, okay, it was a French doctor who noticed that a female was literally ripping the clothes right off of her body, and she couldn't stop her hand from doing this. Alien hand syndrome is actually real. It's a real thing. Okay, and that's really, I wanted to write the short story about alien hands, and then, but instead of having this medical issue, okay, it would turn out that the short story at the end was that the apartment that person, it was he was a writer. He was mentally blocked. He didn't know what to write about. He had a deadline, and he just couldn't come up with anything, and he worked for the newspaper. Okay, so it turned out that while all of a sudden his hands started to come to life and just type all the short story and everything, but it turned out that the story was really about him and how he was going to die, and that's how he died, by his own hands. That typed the story. I thought it was a really good idea. I thought it was a fantastic idea, but the problem is I couldn't. I just didn't know how to start it. I didn't know how, and then finally I said, hey, how about how about people who have the ability to do, and they're called the conduits, okay? They're able to commune with the dead. Some can commune with the dead, some can do other things you know, yeah, a whole bunch of different things and everything. And so I ran with that, and it just started to really kind of work, and I was really, really proud of it. There is probably 3 that I can think off of the top of my head. There's probably more variations of the Conduit story. So, like I said, I cut Harold out, and then I went with trying to remember what her name was. And then she was the, and I thought what I could do is tell the story from her perspective, and then she meets with Harold, and then she dies. But then the more I kept writing about her, she took root. She really took root, and then I thought, no, Harold is out completely. So my puppy's here. But again, there wasn't things that were connecting. Okay, it was a good story. My friend was mad at me. He was really mad because he was like, I could see it, I could envision it, I could, blah blah blah. But I said the story wasn't going anywhere. I was spinning my tires completely. And like I said, it was getting more and more ridiculous, and I had to make up something where her boyfriend that got her pregnant, okay, and she was in her mid 30s, late to mid 30s, and he was young. He was like 22 years old, but very mature 22, and then he has a dream that his father said to him, you have this gift, because the baby that was inside her was supposed to be this really, really, really powerful conduit. And I actually used the word conduit, but it didn't make sense. None of it made any sense. All of a sudden his father just pops up, his dead father just pops up in his dream and tells him all this. It made literally no sense at all. So what I did with this one is that I took the ideas I had in the other one, and Lauren, okay, is using Charles T. Appleton in order for her to get pregnant, okay. That, and then she's going to, because there's something in Charles T. Appleton's genetics, okay, and that's why she picked him, because of his genetics. She killed his family when he was a baby. She doesn't realize this. He doesn't realize this. He basically was raised by Lauren all this time, okay. Now the people in the coven they can live for thousands of years. They're really, they're actually a really old race of people, I guess, or and what's her Ty, okay, she's from the coven. She used whatever DNA that they had of Aubrey, her daughter, okay, Lauren's daughter, and because they were been following her, okay, and they found the afterbirth, they found all this stuff, and she got herself out of there because she knew she was being followed by them, okay. So in the coven, there's this thing called the meeting of the minds, okay. So it's basically a meeting, okay. I just made it a little bit more, more than what it is. And she does this presentation, and she used Aubrey's DNA, and she even admitted she stole it. Okay, she stole it from, you know, from evidence or what, you know, from whatever. And that's an offense. Okay, so the counselor asked her and said, you know, why shouldn't we, basically it's like, why shouldn't we punish you or something like that. And she says, because I am more close than anybody in this place. I could find Charles T. Appleton. None of you are as close as I am. Then she opens the vial, okay, the glass vial that has a little bit of Aubrey's DNA from the afterbirth. And then all of a sudden, this nebulous cloud came out. A nebulous cloud, it's Latin for colorful cloud. That's all it really means. Basically, it's a big presentation. Okay, she used, you know, a spell or whatever you want to call it, you know, and it came out of the bottle, and this cloud hung over, you know, the meaning of the minds. And then a voice came out of the cloud and says, what do you want to see? And she was like, show us, you know, what's been hidden, you know, and show us the deceit. I think it's something like that. And so the cloud shows this, basically this video, or I put it as vision, of Lauren, and everyone gasped because now they saw Lauren as a hitchhiker, and she was part of the coven, and she got in the car with the baby Charles T. Appleton and with the parents, and she puts her hand on both of them as she got inside the car. She wants the kid. She doesn't care about them. And she has like some kind of hypnotic thing, you know, ability, and her hands started to glow on them, and they just became, you know, a blank. Okay. And so they became a blank, and she tells the father or the husband that's driving. Okay, this was 1980 something. And she says, you go where I tell you to go, and once you see the cliff, you stop. And then she looks at the mother and she goes, you're going to see me taking your son, and there is nothing you can do about it. You are glued to this seat and you are not to move, but you will see how I am taking your son, and you will keep seeing me with your son until you die. She is really cruel. She is the meanest, probably the meanest person I've ever written. And I don't know if there's a reason for it. I don't know. Or if she's just an ass. You know what I mean? I mean, beyond, that's like an ass on steroids, you know? And you know what I mean? And I mean, my heart just broke for the family. It really did. And it happened, and she took the kid out. There's nothing they could do about it, and she goes to the front of the car and and says to Charles, or says to her, to Charles's father, which I don't know. I don't know if I'm not even sure if I named them. I think I did, actually. I really honestly, I can't remember. But anyway, she puts her, I don't think she even had to put her hand. They're still under this transic state, okay? And then she says, drive. And that's what happened. So all of his life, Charles T. Appleton, all he knows is that they died in a car accident. He's an orphan. And that's it. Most of his life is a lie. Okay. It's possible that he was in these, foster, homes, and he probably did suffer abuse to a certain degree. But but Lauren made sure that none of it got too far, because she needed him to grow up and to be old enough to get her pregnant. Sick. I mean, it's a really sick idea, but I want to write something so evil that you just can't comprehend how evil this person is. Is it just drunk with power? I really don't want to, that she's schizophrenic or all that kind of stuff. I'm actually going to leave that open and leave it to the reader to decide for themselves, but happy that something happens to her, and everything. So, I believe this could be I'm sorry, my dogs are playing around. Do I believe that this could be a series? I actually do. I really do believe it. And I think after this book, I think it's all going to be with Aubrey. There's a lot of things. There's a lot of uncertainties. How does Charles T. Appleton get reunited with his daughter, his bastard, daughter? Because there's another guy that I've written. He's called Pretend. He's actually called Pretend. And I actually think he's working for Lauren. I actually think that's really what's happening. He's working for Lauren. And maybe all this, I'm going to commit these murders, which he's been killing people. He is a conduit, and he has the ability to pull the skin off of people, because the cells of the skin is attracted to him in some way, and he's able to pull that skin and have that skin transferred to him to look like that. As like a mask, or it's like a really, really Hannibal Lecter, type of character, but a little bit more sophisticated, and everything. Maybe he just broke into his kind of spook him a little bit. I don't know, but it's fun right now to write it. It's a lot of fun, and I'm kind of glad about Ty and Adler coming from the Conduit, or I'm sorry, coming from the Coven, because they're a little bit of like humor. It's a little bit humor, They're basically a ragtag team. What happened was that the counselor died, and they were going to take Ty. They were going to take her into the courts, and she had really nothing. She had nothing to do with the death. Adler is a warlock. Okay, she's a witch. Okay, Coven, and so as they took her, he became invisible. Okay, he had the vials with him for safekeeping, and he's a little bit of a thief. He likes to steal things, and a lot of it, I think, is just to see if he can get away with it. And he warned her. He warned Ty. He goes, "They're going to be coming for you." He is, because he died, and they had no clue that I know about this. And and it was it's kind of actually kind of funny. So anyway, they take Ty, and he's invisible, and she notices on left side of the shadow isn't moving in sync with one of the guards. And she goes, oh my God, it's him. It's Adler, And so she looks straight ahead, pretending, and then she puts her hands down where the cuffs prevent her from using her magic to get away, okay? And I kind of alluded to that. So anyway, she puts her hands down, trying to make it easy, but then she realizes she's going to have to do a diversion, and then she falls to her ground and pretends that she has an illness of some sort. And the head guard that was in front of her says to the other two, she's stalling, get her up. And this time she has her arms up this way so that he can come around and unlock, and which he does. He does do it. And and then she's able to throw a portal out. Okay. It was the yellow portal, and she goes, jump into that portal, and he does. And she has telekinetic, and she pulls one of the swords. Okay, the only way you can kill someone from the coven is by beheading. That's it. You can only behead them. That's how you can kill them. Unless there's something out there now, But that's how they did it in the olden days. Okay, unless there's, like I said, something different now. So, that being said, so that leads into 10, which is trying to think. It's Alexia and Charles. They're still kind of they're still dealing with the death of Jason. Okay, that's Alexia's boyfriend, and he committed suicide. I knew there was too many people. Okay, too many characters, so I had to off one off. That made more sense than keeping him and having him do an interview. Okay, for prosperity, sake. That was the whole idea with this new format, was to have like an interview with a vampire. When I started reading The Interview with a Vampire by Anne Rice, I realized that it was more of a conversation between two. It was more of this combative conversation. And what I had originally was question, answer, question, answer, question. Most people liked it. Most people, said, no, this is really good. I kind of liked it. And I thought, it seems a little stiff. So I went back and I took out all, it had question and answer. I took all that out. And all I did was just add a few things. They were having a conversation. It was more organic, okay? It wasn't, you're not interrogating anybody. Answer, So Anne, right, reading that book, Interview with a Vampire, which I didn't get too far in. It was just enough for me to get the idea. And then, but then I was thinking to myself, a whole novel based on these interviews. I said, he's going to run out of people. So it's like in life, okay? You feel like you're on a quest to do something, okay? You feel that you're on the quest for to do something, and then all of a sudden something takes you in a different direction. But oddly enough, it takes you back to where you wanted to be in the first place. That's kind of what this book's about. It's about it's about that. It's about, it might not been the journey that you would have, picked out for yourself, but it comes full circle, and everything. And maybe that comes later in life, okay? That he does all these interviews with conduits to do it for prosperity's sake, to do it to learn more of who they are as people, the origins of themselves. I mean, it's nothing. It's going to be one of those things that nobody's going to know exactly how they became, who they are, that type of thing. And this book has vampires, has werewolves, but I think a lot of that kind of stuff is going to be in more of it. The vampires are in it now. I'm rewriting 19 chapters. I'm at 11 right now, so I'm doing really good. I'm trying to think how I can get the werewolves into the whole thing as well. I think they're going to be like mentioned, here and there, and that kind of thing. But like I said, there's a lot of questions still, but I think it's just one step at a time. I wrote chapter 11. I got like 4 or 5 pages done, which I was really impressed. But it wasn't written really well. Okay, it's basically just a rough draft of what I would have ideas of. So that being said, I wasn't expecting to talk about how I got the idea of the Conduit. It's just things that just pop up into my head, and it's one of those things. You might want to write this. You might want to write this, and make it into a book, and I get a lot of questions like how many chapters. For one thing, that's the dumbest question that a person can ask is, how many chapters do you want this book to be? You can never set a limit to a book. You can't do it. Stephen King's It was huge. That was a big ass book. And he said he wasn't expecting to write that much. Okay. But it just depends on the complexity of the story. It depends on a lot of things, And being a pantser, and you don't write an outline of what because you're still trying to figure it out as you're going on. I think it's more creative writing not to know, writing in the dark. I actually like writing in the dark more than actually having an outline and go, okay, so I have to, that's where we're at right now. I don't think that's very creative. I just don't, so my puppy's probably on timeout again. But and it's like that saying, and it's like the Conduit, the book I'm writing. It's like that saying goes, you want to make God laugh, tell him about your plans. Life is like that, once you think you're going to be, and maybe in a lot of ways, I think the Conduit is exactly kind of like how my journey is in writing too. You might have wanted to go one way, but you're actually going this way, and it's just the way it is. And that's kind of the way Charles T. Appleton is right now. He wanted, this poor guy gave up the monastery. He was a monk because Lauren broke his heart. She left him. He had no reason why. I know he was underage, okay, and she was 20-something years old. And and he figures that's all it is, right? But there's a more of a sinister, thing to the whole thing. So, it's going to be fun to see how Ty and Adler meet up with Charles, and how and Lauren. Do they meet up with Charles, or do they meet up with Lauren and her daughter? And this is interesting. In chapter 10, Charles had a vision of Aubrey, so he actually knows what she looks like. He really knows what she, and he tells Alexia of what, and says, I've seen this girl, and she was here in the, it looks like she's reaching out to him. Okay. She may not know, how she's doing this, and that's why, she's 16. 16 seems to be the magical, how am I doing this? The magical time of a conduit's life, to as they mature into into adult life. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of work to be done. I started putting a limit. Okay, I want to be done late, maybe into the winter, and then have this done, But I don't think that's going to happen. I really don't, because I still have to do final edits. After I wrote everything out, I still have to do final edits on it, and then it'll probably be somewhere in the spring and summer again. So that will make it about 2 years I've been writing this, which isn't too bad, really. I don't know. It all depends. So I hate to put limits on everything and say it's going to be done at this time. It usually never does, But it's not the fact that I'm not working hard at it. I'm working. Any of my downtime is writing. It really is. And I'm going to tell you this right now. If you feel like your head is going to explode, or you feel like or you're dreaming about writing your story and editing and everything, you need a break from it. You need to play video games. You need to play your guitars. You need to unwind, have fun. I said before on YouTube on my channel here is that I can't even. I don't read. When I need a break, I just want to watch TV. I just want to really let myself drool. And reading is. I had a friend of mine. She has dyslexia too. And she said to me, she's a writer, she's a fantastic writer, and she's very successful. And she said to me, she goes, don't ever, always read. You need to read, when you're giving yourself a break on writing. I said, I can't do it. Honest to God, I just feel like my head is going to freaking explode. I need to do something fun. Just something that's just. I don't care if it's watching a whole series of Beavis and Butthead episodes or something like, just something, fun. But I do find myself wanting to read more. And like I said, creative writing has helped me in so many ways in actually reading better. I still have horrible anxiety issues in reading out loud. This is really more what this YouTube channel is for. It's actually more for myself than for anybody else. I got to get out of the nervousness of not being able to read in public. I was talking to somebody today, and I said to she's the girlfriend of my friend. I work. She's working at the same school for right now. They left. I'm on the floor crew. I'm a custodian, and I said to her, I said, you can't grow as a human being if you're scared all the time. Okay, with dyslexia, if you have dyslexia, or if you don't have dyslexia, most people don't know this, but a lot of dyslexic people. That was weird. I scratched my head. Yeah, a lot of dyslexic people have problems with anxiety issues. I have tons of anxiety issues. I don't like going to places I've never been before. I'm not saying I'm not adventurous. I like to, and it's kind of saved me from a lot of things. It really has, because because I don't have that reckless abandonment like most people do. And I'm kind of grateful for that too. So I live a very boring life, which I'm grateful for. But I've broken out of my shell. I came out of my shell pretty good, and I'm trying to do more. So a friend of mine, Ricky, she said to me, she goes, with your personality, you got a lot of personality. Because we talk a lot, and she thought I would be good at something like this. She goes, you know a lot about music, you know a lot about everything, and that was a good compliment. Yeah, because I do read, I like to learn, and I'm always constantly learning, and I'm always constantly making myself better. And yeah, that's the adventure, I think, in life, is learning who you are, and then once you learn who you are, then to like who you are. I am very sorry for how dark my face looks right now. I am deeply sorry for that. It's just how the sun is. It's almost 6 o'clock right now. I just got straight from work at 3:30, 4, probably about 4 when I came in. I'm sweaty, I'm grungy, but I decided, I got this mic boom, and I said, I'm going to set it up, I'm going to do some recordings. I was really excited. Funny part about it is I'm actually getting more and more excited about doing YouTube videos. I don't know how to do the fancy stuff that everybody seems to know how they do. I don't know. I don't know how to do, click the button right here. Or right here. Or right here. I don't know how to do it. And that's not saying I wouldn't learn how to do it, because it's nice to have visual stimuli in my channels, but I want my YouTube channel to be a little bit more on the intellectual side to some degree, but not like, I'm not saying I'm not going to have fun with it, because I do. I really want to have a lot of fun with it. So, that being said, I know I talked a lot. Thanks for listening to me. I hope I didn't talk too much, which I feel like I did. If I did, oh well, it's a YouTube channel. If you're not supposed to talk, then I don't know where you're supposed to talk at. So, I'll probably do chapter 2. I'll probably do chapter 2 tomorrow after work. I don't have to work the next day or for the next 3 days after that. So I probably do that for tomorrow. See if I can read even better. Hopefully I could sound better and everything. So, all right. Well, have a good one, and keep writing if you're a writer. Keep reading if you're a reader, and keep listening, or if you're just first time seeing my YouTube channel, and have a good night. Bye.